lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be something a little different that I usually post on my channel. As you can see by the title, it is 10 habits to a happy marriage, and I am so excited to announce that I'm going to be doing Marriage Mondays every first Monday of the month. So every first Monday of the month I will be putting out a video in regards to marriage advice or just anything having to do with marriage, and I am really excited about this. Now, by no means am I a expert on marriage or Dr. Phil at all. You know, I'm speaking from my experience. So if you want to get all like tough and write stuff down below like you're not a doctor, blah blah blah, that's your opinion. I'm just talking about how I feel in my marriage and how it's helped my marriage with any advice I give on this channel. So yeah, if you guys want to be rude and mean about stuff like that, don't even bother watching this video because I'm not going to put up with that, just to be real. So let's get started. So like I said earlier, these are my opinions. You may not agree with them, and that's completely fine. But if you don't agree, let's just agree to disagree. So the first habit I think is very important to have is to always show appreciation and show affection to your spouse. When you're married, you want to know you feel appreciated. You want to know that your spouse loves you and basically that you made the right decision of marrying him or her. As the years go by, they just get comfortable and they're just like, I don't need to buy flowers for her, or I don't really need to cook for him or, you know, cater to him like I used to. So you just kind of brush it off. But that's when problems start happening. I've been married for almost 6 years, and I tell my husband all the time, don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable, because as soon as we start feeling comfortable with each other, then we're gonna stop trying. And when you stop trying, a lot of bad things can happen. So like my husband, I know the shows he likes. I know he likes watching sports. So I always try to make sure his sports are getting recorded or his shows are getting recorded. And I'll sit there and watch it with him. Now, I am a sports fan, but for example, he likes this show called Airplane Repo. It's about men who are repo men and they repo airplanes. And at first I was like, I don't want to watch this. This is so stupid. But because I'm showing appreciation to him and I'm showing affection, like, okay, baby, I'll watch this with you. And now I love the show as much as he loves it. Like, that's just our show now. It's cool we can do something that shows him that I care for his opinion. I care for, you know, what he wants to do. The same way he takes me to Home Goods and Target all the time. I know he doesn't want to be there, but he still takes me because he knows it makes me happy. So showing appreciation and affection is very, very important. My next habit for a healthy marriage is something that's a little personal, but that's why it should be kept to yourself. Do not share your bedroom secrets with friends or family. That is something that I cannot stand when people ask me or they tell me about their lives. I don't want to know what goes on with your husband behind closed doors. I do not care. That's something that should never be spoken about with anybody. If somebody asks me like, oh, well, how is Daryl with this and how is Daryl with that? I get so offended. Like, do not ask me about those things. That's none of your business. I'm not going to sit there and speak with you about what he's doing or what he's not doing and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm already getting uncomfortable just even talking about this. I feel like those are things you should not discuss with your friends or family. That is just disrespectful to your marriage. That's disrespectful to your man. And that's disrespectful to yourself in the end. Because you wouldn't want your husband to be talking about your stuff and what you do to his homeboys. That's just not what we want. So we shouldn't be doing that to our husbands. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, you may not agree, because even I have friends that they like talking about this stuff, and that's cool. That's their prerogative. I know this might stir up some conversation in the comments, but that's just how I feel. So the next habit I feel is very important is to have a friend around you who encourage marriage. So I can sit here and be honest with you because I honestly am an open book. I want to help you guys, and if it means speaking from my experiences, then I will. We used to have a core group of couples that we would hang out with, but most of them are divorced now. And it just sucks being friends with somebody or with a couple who didn't see marriage the way me and Daryl did. They wouldn't see what we saw. Like the fact that one of these dudes had to go out with his homeboys all the time and hang out. He went to the strip club and just stupid stuff like that, that I was just like, what is wrong with you? Like, that is not how marriage is done. So I feel it's important to have friends who encourage marriage. Because when you have a group of friends who looks at marriage the way you do, it makes life so much easier. It's always good to have friends who are like encouraging you to keep at it, and you know, that's marriage. You have ups and downs. Instead of having friends that are like, forget him girl, let's go party, let's go to the club, let's go do this, let's go do that. That starts playing with your mind like, maybe I should go to the club. He doesn't even appreciate me. Your friends, they put thoughts in your head that shouldn't be in there. If you have friends who encourage marriage and who are married and who see what marriage is about, it helps you out so much more in your marriage, and it makes it easier to do the right thing. Because you don't want to be encouraged by these girls who are single or are in a bad marriage and they don't respect their man the way they should. Having friends around you that have the same mindset as you is so important. So me and Daryl aren't perfect. Nobody's perfect. Our marriage isn't perfect. I know a lot of people will say, oh, you and Daryl are so perfect, or we see comments and y'all say how cute we are, and you know, we appreciate all those comments, of course, and we love that you guys love us like that, but we're not perfect by any means. And there are times where he annoys the heck out of me, and I'm just like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, why do you do these things? And the same thing goes with him. I annoy him. The most important thing that we have learned is to always remember the good times. I know Daryl has told me this before, where when I annoy him or when we're arguing, he says that he always remembers when I was walking down the aisle going towards him in our wedding. And he says that he remembers that moment because that feeling he felt of, wow, she's saying yes to me. Like, she wants to be mine forever. It warms his heart to where he forgets why he's mad and he just wants to get over the fight immediately. And it's so true, because when we got married, I didn't expect to see him cry, but as soon as I walked down the aisle, he was crying, and that made me cry. And just seeing him cry over me, like how much he loves me, was such a beautiful thing to me. And I'm not gonna say I remember that every single time we fight, but I do try to go back to the good times, or the times he's made me laugh, the times when we, you know, went here or went there. Because when you hold on to the good times, the small petty bad times don't even matter. Because you start realizing, like, why am I mad at him? Like, sometimes I even forget why I get mad at him. Like, that's just, I'm like, what was the fight about again? I don't even remember. And it's just so silly to where you're wasting time being mad at each other when you should just be together and be happy. So holding on to the good times and remembering the good times is so important. The next habit I feel is important for a happy marriage is very important. And it is to make each other laugh. I feel like Daryl and I laugh like every single day, at least 30 minutes. Like, we laugh so much together. I feel it's really important to laugh and to make each other laugh, because that's just the best medicine. It really is. Like, he can make me laugh like no other. It's so crazy. That's why I fell in love with him to begin with, because he made me laugh so much. So the next habit to have for a happy marriage is to learn how to pick your battles. Now, there are times where Daryl pisses me off more than once in one day, and I have to learn how to pick my battles. Like, I have to be like, okay, is it worth the fight? Is it worth me pointing it out and having a little argument over it? Sometimes I'm just like, I'm not even in the mood, and sometimes it's just like, okay, we're letting it go, and we do. So learn how to pick your battles, because you can't fight for every single fight. That would be crazy. Marriage is tough. I'm not here to say marriage isn't hard, because it gets tough sometimes. You have to learn how to pick your battles, because you can't get mad at every single thing. The next habit is to have a techie timeout. Now, I've gone to restaurants and I've seen couples on their phones the whole time while they're sitting down waiting for their food. No conversation, not even looking at each other. And me and Daryl, I've always made it a habit to, when we sit in a restaurant or anywhere public, we're never on our phones like that. I feel like that's the worst thing to do. Is you kind of start to judge people, be like, they must have a horrible relationship because they're on their phones the whole time. So Daryl and I have made it a habit to, when we're in public places, don't get our phones out unless we're looking for something like Google Maps or something like that. But even at home, we always make sure that we close our laptops, we put our phones to the side at home, and we just speak for at least 30 minutes. Like, just how's your day? Do you have anything, you know, is there anything going on with you? How are you feeling? Etc., etc. We always make sure we talk, because being on your phone and being on Instagram or Twitter and all that stuff, it's just, you don't need to be doing that when your husband or your spouse is right in front of you. The next habit I think is important, and this is something that I've learned over the years. This is one of the things that I used to do all the time, and it's do not badmouth your spouse to anybody. to anybody, not to your girlfriends, not to your mom, not to anybody. Because in the end, it's gonna bite you in the butt. Like, I used to, if he pissed me off, I would call my girlfriends and be like, he did this, what should I do, and blah, blah, blah. And it got to the point to where it was like, people started getting a bad image of your spouse, and you're painting this image for them, because you're telling them all the bad things, but you never say the good things. And it ends up being like, man, maybe their spouse is a jerk, or they started not to like him, you know, because of the stuff you're saying. And in the end, that just leads to trouble, because there's no reason why you should badmouth your spouse. You should speak to your spouse about the issues you guys have. When you become a grown woman, you don't need to run to your mom and tell her like, oh, he's doing this and he's doing that. Like, I used to do that all the time when we first got married. And now, I mean, I talk to my mom about certain stuff, like when Daryl, like, serious issues, like if he really gets me mad, and I ask for her opinion. But as far as me talking to my girlfriends about it, I don't do that anymore, because in the end, I'm gonna ask for advice to someone who really doesn't even know the situation. And that's kind of silly to think about, because why would I ask for advice from a person who doesn't even know what goes on in your life, what goes on in your marriage? When it comes to your mom, that's a whole different story. Your mom, you might be close to your mom. I'm really close to my mom, so she knows. But yeah, don't badmouth your spouse to people, because it's just not worth it. Another habit to have for a happy marriage is date night. Date night is so important, you guys. I cannot stress it out enough. Like, there's times where you need a date night. You need to go out. You need to go out to a restaurant, go to a movie, do something random. Keep it fun, because date nights are so crucial when you get married. Because some people stop doing that, you know, it just becomes a routine. And it is so important for you guys to go out and just have a good time, you know, like, don't worry about bills, don't worry about work, just enjoy each other's company. And the last habit for a happy marriage is to keep God first. It is the most important habit to have, because keeping God in the center point of your marriage is what's going to keep your marriage going. I can attest to that. I can say hallelujah right now, because we have gone through things and we have annoyed each other to the point of like, we cannot deal with each other. Like, this is not, oh my gosh, like I can't do this anymore. But we always keep God first. There's this one song by Warren Bearfield called Love Is Not a Fight, and that song is so amazing. The lyrics to it says, love is not a fight, but it's worth fighting for. And it is so true. Love is worth fighting for. And we've always said we keep God first. Like, there are times when we argue and it gets to the point to where I'm just like, ugh, don't even be near me. And I have a conversation with myself and I say, you know what, devil? You aren't going to win. You aren't going to tear my marriage apart. This is not going to end in divorce like everybody else. We're going to keep God first, and we're going to keep fighting. And we keep God first, and that's the only reason I can honestly say why our marriage has survived. Because keeping God first has given us peace and faith and hope, and it's an amazing feeling. So if you guys are struggling, if you guys aren't happy in your marriage, just pray. Pray hard and know that God will take care of you, and know that God will bless your marriage, because our marriage is amazing. Like, it really is. Like, we do argue like every other couple, but we keep God first, and we know that in the end we're meant to be with each other, because God wouldn't have put us in each other's life for no reason. And if you guys are having trouble with your marriage, please take these tips that I have given you today and try and use them. You know, I'm not saying like I'm a doctor, like I said earlier. I'm not a therapist, but these are tips that I've learned over the years that have helped me. I know marriage isn't easy, and I know it gets tough sometimes, but please take these habits that I have listed today and try and put them in your life and try and use them as, you know, the days go by. I know it's not easy. I know it's gonna be hard to show affection if your husband is getting you mad, or to, you know, do nice things for someone who you feel doesn't appreciate you. Trust me, I've been there. But I can tell you right now, they will help you. And I just want to say that I'll pray for you, and I'll pray for your marriage. And marriage is great, you know, when you have a good man by your side and you learn things as you go and you get over those storms. It's amazing, because I love my husband so much, and I am completely obsessed with him. He's my everything, and I feel like these tips that I told you today have definitely been the reason why I have you know, had a great marriage. And like I said, it's not perfect, but it really does help. So that's all I have for you guys for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different than what I usually post, but if you guys like Marriage Monday, give this a thumbs up. And please let me know down below if you guys have any topics that you want me to cover. I would love to cover them. So if you guys are new to my channel, please subscribe. And that's all I have for you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for your love and support. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.